Hello, my name's Mandy and this is my channel Make It Sew. So today is Tuesday and the date is the 28th. I had to think then. I've had a few days off work which has been great, but I've forgotten what date it is. So I didn't actually release a video last week, and I did put a little post on my community page because unfortunately, like many of you, I'm sure, I managed to catch a bug that's been going around, and my lovely husband decided to share it with me and also my son. So didn't feel really up to much last week when it was time for my chats, so I thought I'd give you a bumper edition this week. I also had where I was working from the day after my last vlog on the Wednesday, I think the 15th of January, until the following Wednesday. I was actually scheduled to work every other day, even though I'm part-time. Unfortunately, that happens sometimes, so I didn't really get much time to rest or sew. If you haven't watched my channel before and you're new here, welcome, and if you have been with me for a while, welcome back. So I'll start by telling you what I've been up to, except for being ill, of course. So the day after my last video I released, I was actually going to be live on YouTube with Yvette from Stash Hub. So she does this series every Wednesday and it's called Stash Chats. So it was my turn last time. Actually last week was So Hayley Jane, I believe, and this week is Sisters of Stitchcraft. But it was my turn a couple of weeks ago and it was really good to chat to Yvette. Bit nervous because I knew I was live, but if you haven't watched it already, I will put a little link either at the end of this video or in the description box, so check that out. And then on the Friday I was on again on YouTube with the lovely Jenny from Virtual Sewing Room, and she was doing a series in conversation with, so she started with some of us hosts. D was on the first one, then B, and then me. So DB Mandy. And then Lucy was last week. So I think there's another one coming out this week. So again, I'll put a link to the one where I was on and you'll be able to see that if you haven't already. So as well as that, I did host a virtual sewing room session. I still wasn't feeling great, so Jenny did a lot of the talking for me, which helped. And I also did attend some VSR sessions. Just before I was ill, I'd gone down to Red Hill Sewing Social and met the lovely Tania again, and Eleanor was there, who I know from the Virtual Sewing Room, and also B. So that was really good and lovely to actually meet them in person, because I've never actually seen B or Eleanor before. So I'm hoping to see them again very soon. Other than that, I didn't go to Walpole unfortunately, and I didn't go to my charity sewing group because by then I just didn't feel right and I didn't really want to spread my germs around like my husband did. Yes, I'm blaming him. So before I carry on waffling, this is my lovely toaster sweater, and it was the second one I made with some rope knit from Fabrics by Penny's community page on Facebook, and it sews up really nicely, and I've got a little something extra to show you that matches in a bit. So the first thing I made was just before I was ill, and that was something I'd made before. It's called the Betty Box Bag and it's by Wild Shore Craft and Sewing. Now when I tried to Google this, I'm not sure what's going on, but I couldn't actually find this pattern. But I've had it a while and I made one just before I did a pattern test for her. So I thought I like the size of it. I use it for my makeup, so I thought it'd be nice to make one for work to put all my bits and pieces in. And quite appropriately, I had this nurse's fabric, nurse's hat cotton, and I thought I'd make it in that. So it has box corners. It's very hard to show you because there's nothing in it. It's got a nice little carry handle, little zipper tabs at the end, and then inside I just coordinated it with this light blue fabric, and you bind all of the seams, so it's a nice tidy finish. I started this one at the Red Hill Sewing Social because I thought it'd be a nice simple thing to do while I was chatting. No. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was starting to come down with whatever it was. I just couldn't get my head around it, and there was one bit I did, and then Eleanor, bless her, I showed her because I'd unpicked it thinking I'd done it wrong because it didn't make sense to me at the time, but I had done it right, so I sewed it up again. And then there was a bit where you have to put the side seams and put the zipper pieces in, and again it just caught me out, so I had to put it in my bag and carry on sewing something else. But on the way home I suddenly said to my husband, I know exactly what I needed to do. I don't know why I was struggling with it. It's not the hardest pattern to follow. It does say confident beginner, and I got home and the next day I managed to finish it. So I don't know what was going on. Socialising and sewing obviously don't always work for me, but I did have a really lovely time. So that was that make, and that was all I'd made before I was then ill, and that's another reason why I didn't do a vlog last week. So the second thing I made, I was really excited about this. Now I have got plans to make some garments, and I was making the Sew Over It Carly dress, but I hit a bit of a bump in the road and I just needed something to be excited about, and this was what it was. So I had to put a little teaser on Instagram. Now I said last time in my video that I'd ordered some labels from Cozy Club Handmade, and they arrived, and as soon as I got this label, you should be able to see it on there hopefully, it says, "You look fabulous, darling." I just suddenly thought, I know what I need to use that for. And I'd had this fabric in my stash since I went to Florida in August, and I bought it from Walmart, and seeing that label just made me think, I know exactly what I want to make with it. So I'm going to show you that in a minute if you haven't seen a sneak preview on Instagram. But it is a pattern I've had for years, and it's Swoon patterns, Annette handbag and tote. So it's called a Commuter Tote, and this pattern, I made one originally years ago following a sew along from Shan of Kittenish Behaviour, and I thought I'd do the same this time, but when I actually went to watch her videos, she's revamped them, and so different bits that I learned from last time when I watched it, she didn't do. She's changed how the zip is and everything, and I can see why she's done it, but of course that didn't suit what I was doing, so I actually did it by myself. And I read the instructions and it all went swimmingly, and it is quite a simple pattern to follow. You can see I'm delaying showing you it here. And the only difference I did to the pattern was that with the Commuter Tote you don't have to do the full shoulder strap. It's meant to be carried like a suitcase, but I like that feature because if it gets too heavy, I've still then got the option of being able to put it on my shoulder. So other than that, I didn't actually change anything. So are you ready? So this is it, and I'm going to show you this side first. I might put some pictures on once I've edited this in case you can't see it as well as I think you can. So I've used this lovely fabric from Walmart, which was a yard ready cut, and then I put my lovely label from Cozy Club Handmade in the middle because I weren't sure where I was going to put it, and I even satin stitched it on the leather, well, leatherette it's called. I've had this black leatherette in my stash for about, gosh, 6 years, and it was when I bought the purple one that I'd used on my last one. So that's been sitting there waiting to be made forever. And then on the other side I had this lovely metal label that says custom made, and that's from Emmeline Bags, and what I did with this was I didn't quite have enough of the lovely coffee fabric, so I managed to do all the lining except for the base in it. See if you can see that. And then I done a zipper inside pocket, and then inside that I had dots of various colours so that I could make that pocket. And I even managed to get a little label in here as well, which I can't remember where I got it from. I think it was from Specky Seamstress, and it says, if nothing's getting in the way, my favourite make. So the straps, I didn't do all leatherette. I managed to do it, and I'll put some pictures in to show you. I did it so that it had the fabric on the inside and then the leather on the outside. And all I did was fold the edges in of the leatherette and then fold the edges under of the cotton and clip it to within an inch of its life, and then sew it up, top stitched each side. So everything was going wonderfully until this morning when I finished it. And for some reason my machine decided that it wanted to break lots of needles. And if you can hear my dog, I apologise, it's near dinner time. She makes such a fuss about it. So when I was sewing all the straps in to attach to the buckles, it went through 3 leather needles and also 2 titanium needles, and yet one minute it was playing up and wouldn't do anything, and then the next minute it went through it like butter. So I really don't know what was going on. And then, just to really add insult to injury, one of them broke, fell into the machine itself, and I tried to get it out and couldn't. And because I'd had to take all my bobbin casing out and everything, I've managed to lose my bobbin casing. Luckily, when I sent it for repair, when my bobbin got stuck in it, I ordered a spare so I could carry on sewing. And I was hoping my kitten would come in here and find it on the floor somewhere, because she is very good at finding things and carrying them through to the lounge. But she hasn't done it yet, so she's failed. So I don't know where it's gone. And it's not like it's anything small. It's quite a big, like, circular piece of equipment. So it's not like it's tiny, but I just cannot find it anywhere. If you lose things like that, let me know, because I do think it's sometimes just me. So the zip just tucks in at each end. You do put a little zipper tab on one side which tucks in, but you can't see it, it's right under there. And the only other thing I did differently was I used a red fabric for inside the pockets, but like I said, I've done this extra bit for the shoulder strap, which you don't normally do on the Commuter Tote. But I am so happy with this, I really am, and I can't wait to use it. So I'm probably going to, I haven't said anything yet, but I'm going to the Stitch Festival in March on the Thursday, so I will be standing out with that because I just really like it. So that was my make, something that I was really excited to get done, and that's motivated me to now go back to my Harley dress and see if I can get that finished. So after that, this morning, I thought, I don't know why, it just motivated me to get everything done, and I fancied making a few other things, so I did. So the first thing I did was, I'd made one of these, and I'm going to put them on because then you'll be able to see them a bit better. And this is what matches my toaster sweater. And I said in a video before that I wouldn't mind hacking the cuffs to make them so I can put my thumbs in to keep my hands warm. But I got this pattern. Hopefully my nails aren't too bad, but I've been at work so I can't really guarantee they're good. I got this Fingerless Gloves pattern from Patterns for Pirates, and it is totally free pattern, and you can use up any scraps. This wasn't probably the best thing to use because it's quite thick, but all you have is 3 pieces. So you have a side of the glove, you have a glove top, and you have a glove bottom. And you'll see I've scrawled on there the different sizes, because they range from extra small, which is for a child, to a large 9-inch, which is probably if you've got big hands, or for a male. So anyone in the family can have these, and they don't take very long to sew up at all. But I was really chuffed with them because I was inspired to make them after meeting up with Laura in December when we went to Lincoln, and we were in Boys and my hands were cold, and she gave me her fingerless gloves because she had these brilliant gloves where she had a normal pair of gloves on underneath and then these fit on over the top, and that just made me think I need some of those in my life. So I googled, as you do, and come up with patterns for pirates, and I liked the design, and it was a free pattern, so it was a bonus, and I like them. I think they're really good. So I will be making some more with some of my jersey scraps. If I remember, I will put a little link in the description box, see how I get on. So the last thing I made, no it wasn't, I'm lying, I've made 2 more things, or finished one and made the other. So recently I joined Always Knitting and Sewing, and I thought I would make something from the massive library of things that they've got. And you may remember, if you were watching me back last year, I went to Florida and met up with a lovely lady who watches me called Diane, and she gave me these lovely fabric pieces, and one of them had seagulls on it. And in my cabin, I've been filming in there recently, I actually have the beach theme, and I have seagulls on the fabric of the chairs, and I've just recovered one of the Pohang chairs from IKEA with the fabric, and I've got a load more to do, but I thought this would be really nice for the cabin. So this is a fabric foam basket, and unfortunately I had some scraps of foam from my bag I just made, but I only had enough to do the base, so I did have to use a thinner version. So it's probably not as sturdy as it could be, but I thought this would look really nice in my cabin. See, on the bottom? And then inside I just had this other sort of gull bird fabric that I thought would go really well. And then I put a little fish label from Specky Seamstress on the side, and then I had some ready-made binding I bought while I was in Florida from Hobby Lobby. So I really liked that. And what I like about the Always Knitting and Stitching Club is that you can actually click on everything once you've completed it. So I like that, because then I can see how I'm progressing and if I've already made something, because there's so many things to choose from and the tutorials are really good. So that was something I made up this afternoon. And then the last thing I made was, this was something that I started a while ago, and it's Adam Sews Caddy Packer. Now I'm not going to say that my binding is perfect, and I wish I'd chosen a plain zip because it's quite busy, but here it is. So this fabric inside was from the lovely Sam from Sew Let's Sparkle with Sam, and then I've got a little sewing machine zip pull, and that was from Jean Dove, who's Dove's Bag Bits and Polish Pulls. I actually said it this time. And then on the back is another lovely purple fabric that Sam gave me, and the binding was ready made, but I did have to trim it down. So next time I would definitely do a plain zip with this combination, but I absolutely love it. And it's got vinyl on the front, and I have ordered some more vinyl to do some more, and then I just quilted the back. So that was my first pattern I've managed to finish that I've recently got from Adam. So I definitely think that needs a caddy now for it to go into. So that was my makes this week. So what's come into my sewing room since I last saw you? The first thing I'll show you is the labels, now I've got them. So I showed you this one a minute ago with the absolutely fabulous darling, and the next ones I got were some smaller ones. So I noticed that we're now getting bigger labels, which is great, because if you notice the difference, these are just single fold labels, which I absolutely love, and then these are the usual ones you'll get with the fold on them, so you've got a front and back. So I've always looked at these ones, and I thought while I was ordering the other ones I'd treat myself to them. So made for sweater weather, which we've still got at the moment. And then this just had my name on it, really. These are another single label, slightly bigger, and they say handmade with a latte love. So latte love. And then the lovely jubbly ones. So I would have shown you a stock picture of these, but I've now got them, so I'm looking forward to making things with them. And something else I got was some printing done. So Ellie and Mac released a new pattern a couple of weeks ago called the Natalie Knotted Tank, and I'm hoping you'll see that through my folder so I don't have to rustle, but I will put a picture up here as well. And it surprised me actually how much paper I needed to print this one. There's two different styles. You can have a fitted style tank or a loose fitting, and I had to print off, I think it was 6 A0 pages for this one. So that was quite a lot considering it's just a vest top, but I do like the feature of the knots on the straps. So I thought that would be a nice one for holidays this year for myself and my daughter. And then another one I got while I was there, and it was on offer, I believe, was the Bridget Dolman top, and that's this one. So that's got several different styles as well. So I've cut it out to like the maximum size just to condense the pages a bit, but that didn't need as many pages printed out as the Natalie top. I did also purchase the Arctic pullover from Ellie and Mac this week because it was on offer. I think it was only just under £3. As I would like to make some more bits for my husband now, so I thought that was a nice one. And then you would have already heard from myself and others that I'm doing a collaboration for the Styler Teos top. Styler is part of Little Lizard King, and so I got the instructions and the pattern printed off. So again, I've cut it out to the maximum size, but that is something that I need to be getting on with now. So Flamingo Prints I always go to. Liz is brilliant, she's so helpful. If I get something wrong, she soon lets me know in a nice way, so it makes sure that I don't get something I don't need. And note to everybody, remember to print it out in colour for Ellie and Mac, because otherwise you will get confused with the pattern markings. I learnt that one the hard way. So I thought I'd be getting through my stash this year because I have a lot, as I would have said on Stash Chats, and I had some cottons that I thought would be good to donate when I was going to Red Hill Sewing Social. Eleanor was going to be there, and she is involved in a charity group along with Mel, and I think it's called the Lighthouse Project, but if it's wrong I'll put it on the screen. So they are a charity group and they help people to learn new crafts, and it's just a great charity. If I've got a link to anything like their web page, I'll put it on the description box. But anyway, I took some cottons with me. I thought I was getting rid of about 9 meters of fabric, but then Eleanor, she, bless her heart, thought of me straight away when she saw this. It was on a swaps table, she'd gone to it, was left there, and it's this fabric here, and you'll probably guess why she thought of me. And it is one of the fabrics for your creativity range. So I don't know if it was a pink door box at some point, but it's 2.5 meters by 140 centimeters, so there's quite a lot there. So initially it was thought, oh, I could make a blouse with that, but I'm actually going to see if I can get some sort of dress out of that, because I think that would look absolutely lovely. So thank you so much, Eleanor. So yes, got rid of 8 meters, but that's 2.5 meters back, and that wasn't the end of it. So then the lovely Adam from Adam Sews messaged me after finding out I like giraffes as well, and said this is on its way to you. And it's this really soft cotton jersey, and it's got very upside down, but it's got giraffes all over it. And I can't remember how much is here, but that is going to make a lovely t-shirt. So thank you, Adam. And then he also sent me some purple fabric, and this is sweatshirting. So again, there's quite a lot here. So I reckon a couple of meters, possibly 1.5 meters, but it is quite wide as well. But that will make a lovely top. And it looks really blue on the screen, but it is purple. So that was something else that I got sent. Then he knows I've got some of this, and he sneaked this in there as well. So this is a banana fabric, and he knows I've got a banana machine. So I'm looking forward to making something for my machine with that. So thank you very much. And then the last thing he sent me, I'd bought some French terry off him a while ago for Halloween for my daughter, because she loves Hocus Pocus, and he sent me this jersey panel. So I think that would look really great as a top for her for this year. Now I can say this year. So thank you, Adam, that was really lovely of you. But now you can see that although I thought I'd been getting rid of some of my stash, I've actually now gained some more. But thank you both to Adam and Eleanor, that was very thoughtful. So what are my plans for the coming week? I'm going to get on with sewing the Sew Over It Carly dress, because I would like to get that ready to wear before the warmer weather comes. I'll be finishing my lovely friend Claire's present, because on Saturday the 1st of February we are meeting up with the virtual sewing room and Surrey Sews at Walthamstow to look around the market. And apparently there's lots of fabrics there and lots of haberdashery, and I've already said I will not be buying any fabric unless it's something that I really am in desperate need of, because I really don't need to be buying any more at the moment. And I hear they also do a lot of haberdashery, and I've run out of a few things like bag feet. When I made the Commuter Tote, I had some black bag feet. Don't know if I showed you them. I will quickly get that off the floor and make a racket. So I had enough to put on the bottom, but my husband had to do these for me because it looked like they were screws, but they were more like tacks with screw bits on, if that makes sense. So you couldn't tighten them up with a screwdriver, you had to bash them in. So I let him do that bit. So I could do with getting some more of those. I'm also going to be hosting a virtual sewing room on Thursday night. Because I'm off at the moment, I've got a couple of weeks off with a couple of shifts in between, but it's my birthday soon, so I've booked annual leave, and I just happen to have to make up or use up some more annual leave, so I had this week off as well. I'm going to be planning my Plymouth frock tails outfit. I think I know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to see if I need to twirl it first. And I'm going to be filming a few other videos that aren't chat videos, so that'll be good. Oh yes, and finish my Stella hoodie, because I cut them out a few weeks ago now, and I've had a few distractions on that one. And then that's it really. Oh, and something else that come into my sewing room, it was actually in the house. I sent my husband up to the loft because I knew I had a couple of bits of fleece up there, but it turns out I've got about 6 bits of fleece up there. So one of them is definitely destined for a toaster sweater, and it's all been washed, so I will be getting on with that as well. So I think I've got enough planned. So I hope you're all well. If you like this video, please put a thumbs up, and please comment on the videos. I love your comments, and I always try and answer them as soon as I can. It's just lovely to hear from everybody. So all I'll say is, if you can find some time to sew this week, make it so. Bye for now.